Good evening, everybody. July 30th, 2021. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and see what's going on there. So this is the pattern I'd been hoping to see play out for the last, I guess it's been a little bit over a week, last 10 days, something like this, as this was progressing upwards. We were looking for this to be the fifth wave within this blue 3, and that started out again with this first wave up here. This 2, if you remember, I was not quite happy with how deep that went. I'm still not super happy with it, but it is, I suppose, valid, at least since it didn't go below this low. But it still just gives me a little bit of pause. But in any case, I really wanted to see it prove itself by doing 5 up in what should have been this third wave and should have been fairly strong. And obviously we saw that in here with this short squeeze, saw a nice move up, and we are now well into the box where we should see rejection. This is sort of the ideal place for this blue third wave to go, is right here between the 1382 and the 1618, and we are right in it. So I went down onto the 15-minute chart to see how this final wave 5 here should have played, and we had 1, 2, 3. We were looking for this to be 4 and should have had a 5 up into this box that I drew, this additional box here. What we saw overnight last night, obviously, was this dump down, which went below this level and intersected with the level of this 1. So what that means to me is either this is like a choppy overlapping diagonal pattern, which it certainly could be, or we have a situation kind of like what I was talking about back here, where we hit the ideal region here, came down a little bit. The B wave then of the correction actually went higher than the wave there, and then the C wave came down further. We may be seeing a repeat of that with this pattern, and the way that I would say that played out is basically here's our 3, 4, and 5 already. So meaning this yellow 5 basically only went to the 1382 there, and then so that's completed our 3. And then we're already basically in the correction already of this 4. And so I would say that it's probably most likely, since we violated this line, it's probably most likely that this is our A. We're getting a big high B, and same thing that happened here, we can get a C down into this box like this, and we'll get kind of an expanded flat correction, similar to what we saw here. So that is basically what I'm looking for there. And let's see if I can get my measurement tool here. If you measure, actually let me do a fib to make it easier. So yeah, right about here, you can tell right where this like little diagonal thing or triangle thing played out. That's the 0.5 fib of the bottom to the top there. All that means basically is that whatever this move is up from this sort of central location where all of this action happened, whatever the move up is in the B, we can basically expect the same amount of move downwards into the C, which is basically what we got here. So using that same method, we can pretty obviously see like right in here where all this got really tight, that's sort of our central line there. So we can do the same sort of deal and say from here up, let's say that's the top already. If that's the top, then what can we expect on the way down? And it looks to be right about there in the very beginning of this box. 37K would be the expectation for if this B rejects and we come down into a C, for it to equal this, we can expect at least 37K, which lines up pretty nicely with this green box that I've had on the entire time here. So I am short on Bitcoin. I will add higher. I'll add all the way up to this green line, which is about 44K, in anticipation of this coming down. And basically, no matter what happens, the higher this B goes, the more that we would expect this C to come down as well into that green box. So, but for now, let's just leave it there, as 37K looks to be the ideal region for that. It could go down as low as 35. And then I'm going to be looking probably to get long in this region, this 35 to 37K region. And let me go back out to the hourly, because then after that, that's the completion of the blue 4 here, somewhere in this green box. And then we will be proceeding upwards into the red box here in 5, somewhere between 44 and 47. That's where I'm going to take profit off of that, because at that point then we have a completed 5 up, and the expectation would be for further downside then, because that's a completed structure up. We should see a dump back down, probably to retest this line, because this is drawn from back here. This is the 65K to 59.6K. That's the downtrend there that I think we're probably going to reject from, nearly from here, and then see a breakthrough of it, hit the target for 5, then come back down and retest, and that will make up our larger 1 and 2, and then we can get a nice strong move up in the third wave, and again proceed to our 80 to 100K targets for the end of this market. So that's the hope there. Until these 5 are complete, the blue 5, we really are not out of the woods. If this rejects here and then fails this green box, and especially if we go below this 618 here, 33,950, then the expectation is going to be that we're going further down, and this would then be counted more as like an ABC up, and it was just another stupid corrective motion before we push down further. So keep in mind that is still the case. If you want to long in this green box, you want to have your stop below the 618 here of this move, which is 33,950. Below that does not mean anything good for the bulls, but holding above that, now that we've completed 5 up, holding above that in this region is going to be quite bullish and should provide us enough power to get through this green downtrend here. So at the moment, that's looking quite promising. To strengthen the shorts that I have going, we've also got RSI topping out on the hourly, PPO topping out here, and even over on the daily chart. Let me take you there. You can see how high the RSI is on the daily chart here as well. So I would not be shocked at all for this to, like I said, reject anywhere in this region up to 44K, come back down and gather some strength here. And obviously this was all resistance zone in here before, so when we come back down and test it, that should act as pretty decent support, again right there in that 35 to 37K region. And then that should also bring us back down to retest on the RSI, this RSI breakout that we saw on the daily as well. So all of these things are lining up really, really nicely right now. Whether or not they actually play out completely like that remains to be seen. But at the moment, it's looking pretty promising to play out like that, and a lot of these things are coming together to make a lot of sense. So we will see what the weekend brings. If you're long, I would be very, very, very cautious. If you're short in this zone, I would put your stop somewhere above about 45K, because that would be through this green line and through the 1764 there. So if you're leveraged short, I would place a stop above there. If you're not leveraged short, honestly, you can probably just wait, because we're probably not going to get past this 2.0 region without retest. Even if this did push up through, we should come down and get a retest around here at least from that 2.0 region. So I don't see that as the main probability right now based on the technicals on the hourly and even the daily. So all right, that's the update for tonight. Finally, Bitcoin gave us some action to do something with, which is nice. All right, have a good night, everybody.